What's up, everyone? Max here with the Landfather YouTube channel, and I thought for my next little series of videos, I'm going to start kind of doing something I plan on doing a lot of, which is reviewing stuff. And I picked this little John Deere 1025R to start with because it's going away on Friday. So I thought I might as well make hay while the sun shines and do a little review of it. I put out the world's shortest review of the John Deere 1025R, which is entirely a joke. The sentiments of it are one of the reasons I am getting rid of this machine, but I was really just playing around as I am prone to do. So I'm going to start with a quick little walk around. All right, so this is a John Deere 1025R. It's a 2021. It's got right at like 65 or 66 hours on it. When I bought it, it had 40, and between my wife and I, over the past 9 or 10 months, we've put 20-something hours on it, about 25, 26. So not a ton of runtime, but it is pretty evident pretty quickly how this machine, simply due to its size, does not really cut it for the speed and types of projects I try to do. The biggest takeaway from this for me is that this tractor is not particularly appropriately sized to the size of land that I have. I live on 20 acres in South Carolina, and there's a lot of things this machine can do, and a lot of things it can do well, but the speed at which it does things, for instance, like, it's only got the PTO horsepower to drive a 4-foot bush hog, which is just not, you're talking about for every 2 passes a 6-foot bush hog makes, like this tractor does. I run a 6-footer on this Coyote DK5310. For every 2 passes that does, it's 3 passes for this, and that's a really big difference at the end of the day in terms of how much cutting you can get done in a certain amount of time. I think there's a lot of things to like about this machine, and if I was living on a much smaller piece of property, I think I would be very happy with it. I will say it feels very well made, besides a few things that I'm going to kind of try and point out and highlight in this video. I mean, I heard something the other day that I really enjoyed. John Deere's what Grandpa fought for. I mean, this, you look at a little green tractor like this and you don't think of America, something might be a little wrong with your patriotism. All right, so for this segment, I'm going to talk about a few things. I'm going to kind of start with the history of why I have this machine and why and how I'm sitting on it. So when my wife and I purchased our new home back in November of last year, the previous owner had this tractor, and I had an opportunity to buy it from him, and what I thought was a pretty good deal, and I did. I didn't really have any intentions of really even actually owning this tractor this long. It's September something or other, almost a year after we bought the home. So I bought it because I didn't want to not have a tractor, and I didn't exactly know how long it'd take for my Coyote to get delivered. I'm kind of a sucker for what I feel like is a good deal. Instead of selling it, used it a little bit. My wife took a shine to it, which I thought was really fun. This was the first tractor she ever drove around, and I got a lot of joy out of watching her do that. And we did some projects together and kind of team bush hog our pasture a couple of times, which was really fun. But now this little machine's going to get replaced, and I've traded it in, and its replacement, its bigger brother, well, it might even be a cousin. I'm not, same family for sure. Gets dropped off tomorrow. So some of the things I like about this machine, and and generally these are some benefits of probably almost all subcompact tractors. Um, your John Deere 1 Series, your Kubota BX. Actually, don't really know the model numbers. Those are the two most popular lines. But all of the small 20, 25, I mean, there might be some 30 horsepower tractors out there that are still counted as subcompacts, but they generally are a lot more affordable than something like a much bigger tractor. This is seemingly less and less true nowadays as everything has gotten a little bit more expensive, but it just stands to reason that less machine, less steel, smaller engines, less complicated systems, of course they're cheaper. There is kind of a caveat to that, which I've seen on some other spots on YouTube where, or actually in real life a couple of times, that people buy these tractors and then put, in the name of being affordable, and then put a huge amount of money into different things to try and help the capacity for them to do work. Where to me, it just would have made more sense to kind of buy once, cry once, and start with the machine that has the capabilities you're looking for instead of trying to make one of these machines into something it may or may not be. So on the topic of money, this is a very cheap machine to operate in that it has fuel economy that honestly is kind of shocking. I mean, I don't exactly know how many times I've filled this. The fuel gauge is right over here. I don't exactly know how many times I've filled this machine up, but it hasn't been a lot, and it just sips fuel. I've only put, again, 26, 27 hours on this machine, but it really is an impressive amount of economy. Some of the other things I like, the controls, aside from the parking brake release, are things that I think are very well thought out. They're very easy to use. They're intuitive. I would have cared for maybe a slightly larger knob for the hydraulic controls for the bucket. This is your throttle right here. Your lights over here, your parking brake, and then your pedal. So this is a hydrostatic tractor. I don't know everything about mechanical systems, but from my understanding, that means that there's hydraulic fluid that's turning the hydraulic motor that turns the wheels instead of an output shaft coming out from the engine turning a transmission full of gears, like most tractors have been powered for the pretty much whole time tractors have been around. Hydrostatic transmissions aren't necessarily a new technology, but I believe that they are newer in their application in these small compact or subcompact utility tractors. This was the first hydrostatic machine I ever sat in and operated, and I fell in love with that sort of system immediately. For anything loader like any loader work, it's so much easier. For any sort of tight, close quarters bush hogging, if you're trying to kind of work around trees or obstacles or what have you, just being able to go back and forward so seamlessly and so quickly without having to depress a clutch or shift the lever. It just overall makes the usability of the machine so much higher. I really prefer them. They do have drawbacks. They make some noises that you may not be accustomed to if you've only ever driven gear drive tractors in the past. They tend not to do as well in hilly terrain. They don't. Some models have like a cruise setting, like a cruise control in your car. Neither of my tractors have that. The Coyote has a cruise PTO, which maintains a certain PTO RPM, but not necessarily the forward and reverse of the machine. There are some safety benefits to hydrostatic machines. For instance, if you lost consciousness while you were operating and you took your foot off the pedal, you would stop. If you lost consciousness on a gear drive tractor, you would probably just keep going till it ran into something or flipped over, or that would be pretty bad news. They're going whether or not you tell them to. And I mean, how would you lose consciousness? Well, something flies out of your bush hog, smacks you in the head, you don't see a branch, and there's ways that it can happen. Thankfully, it's never happened to me, but that is why it's important to be wearing your seatbelts, particularly when you're bush hogging. But this might be a silly thing, but man, this thing is cute. I mean, it's small. It's kind of got that like the little engine that could kind of vibe. My daughter loves sitting on this machine and taking the wheel and going back and forth, and she'll take my keys out and leave them on the floorboard, which is super cute and maybe not my favorite part of her playing with it, but it's totally worth it to see how big she smiles when she sits on this. And I will say the machine just does feel small. I'm not the world's largest person. I'm about 6 foot 215, and I kind of feel like that Chris Farley scene where he goes, "Fat guy in a little coat," because it just doesn't. I'm sure there's much bigger people that get on these machines every day, but it doesn't feel like something that's, I don't know, big enough. Well, I had to cut the video there for a second. My dog's barking up a storm, and I do want to have high quality videos with good audio and good visuals, and I still don't exactly know how, and I'm trying to kind of do this on just not go throw a bunch of money at it like I tend to try and solve some of my problems with sometimes. I'm sure it's coming because I have so much fun doing this. I can't believe how much fun I have trying to make these videos. It seems like a really interesting creative outlet, and like the engagement that I've had, I've forced every single one of my subscribers to subscribe to me at this point. They're all people I know. I think it's so much fun, and I don't feel uncomfortable about it anymore, and that's just kind of a huge blessing. But what I was getting, what I was getting to before my dog so rudely interrupted me, the lift capacity on these subcompact and compact tractors is one of the biggest limiting factors, I think, that stop you from doing some of the things that I need to do on my farm, homestead, property, whatever you want to call it. This tractor at the pins is rated to lift something like 700 to 800 pounds. I don't exactly remember what the number is, but I know it's not really any much more than that. And your bucket's going to weigh a couple hundred pounds, and that's at the pins too. So anything in front of it, if you've got loader forks on it, or pallet forks, or a grapple or something, you're really not going to be able to pick up anything in this tractor that you look at and you're like, wow, that's an impressive load. The Coyote I have has a lift capacity of somewhere around 2,700 pounds, and it can pick up a slam full IBC tote of wet firewood with no sweat, and it can pick up some pretty significant sized logs. And not only is that fun, I mean, tractors are fun, never forget that, it also helps you get a lot more work done a lot quicker. So, but in general, like, it's a comfortable machine. Like I said, it doesn't fit me quite as perfectly as I would hope, but the seat's comfortable, the operating position is comfortable. This is adjustable however you'd like it. And I've got some other parts of this video where I adjust some other parts about the machine, but I just really wanted to take the opportunity to say thank you for watching. Thank you for engaging. I would love any amount of comment or a like or a subscribe or a subscription to my channel. It's really flattering, and I hope I'm coming across that I'm excited, because I really am. And I don't have the ability to not be authentic with this. I couldn't act any of this. This really just kind of is who I am. I'm trying to get better at it. I understand how to continually improve in other aspects of my life. I'm gonna try and apply that to this, because I think, it would be a real shame to have started and not really try to get better. I'm probably gonna upgrade the equipment here in a little bit. I need a better mic, and I kind of want one of those little gimbal mounts, so none of the video is shaky and you can control it a little bit. I don't really know when I'm going to do that. The mic that I was using kind of crapped out, so I'll probably have to return that to Walmart or just eat the $12. But that's the reason I'm actually having to record this segment right now instead of last night, because I tried to make all these points in a video last night and just the audio kept getting interrupted and it was really frustrating. But this is video number 4 for me. I dropped my 3rd one this morning, and this should come out pretty late Thursday evening, which would be in preparation for kind of the big announcement that I've been teasing out for about a week, which happens tomorrow. Which more than likely, if you are watching this at this point, in any sort of next couple of days, you already know it's getting dropped off, because again, the only people that are watching this right now are people that know me. So, but stay tuned. If there's something I can do for anybody that's watching, if you've got a channel like this, I'd love to subscribe to you. I'd love to interact with your content. This is certainly seems like a situation where rising tide raises all ships. So that's all for now. All right, so I'm just going to talk about the actual, machine just a little bit more and stop kind of boring you guys with all these silly words that I just can't stop from pouring out of my mouth. I believe this is a tiny little 3-cylinder diesel. I think Yanmar makes the diesels for these tractors. If I am mistaken about that, I'm sure there is plenty of people on the internet who could correct me, but I think that's right. Ain't that just the cutest little radiator you ever done saw? Batteries down there. I don't love the hood latch system. See, it took twice to do it. There's a little release right down there. All the Zerks are easy to get to and grease. I mean, this is like, it's really difficult to see from that video like how small that tire is, but like it's really small. This machine feels a lot like just like a lawn tractor with hydraulics on it. It's a lot bigger than that, but not like, you don't have to stretch your imagination too much. If you have a 3-point control on anything and you have trailers, get one of these, a little trailer mover. That's honestly the bulk of what I started using this machine for, and half the reason I ended up keeping it. It's just so convenient. You can pick the ball right up into the hitch and not even, you don't have to crank a jack. Pull it wherever you need to go. You can see so well from the operator station. It's just, I am really actually going to miss that part of owning this machine. But I do think the benefits of what this machine is turning into will be worthwhile. And I know I've like alluded to this so much, and maybe it's really annoying that I haven't told anybody what's happening, but it is kind of fun to tease it out and maybe make a few people curious about what's happening. Although I would have to imagine, because almost everybody that follows me right now is somebody that already knows me. Almost everybody knows what I'm hinting at, but maybe somebody goes back and watches a few videos and can be surprised. But so this is a little broken, but that's a pretty simple fix. I did break that screen, or it got broken and got replaced. Let's see. Oh, this. So John Deere has an attachment system called a John Deere Quick Attach, or John Deere hook and pin. You know what, man? John Deere, just do the skid steer quick attach like everybody else in the freaking world. I mean, look. You're John Deere, you can do what you want. I get it. This is a much worse system, and it's proprietary, and why do you do it? I mean, I get why you do it. You do it because you think it'll hopefully make you more money. But it just makes your machines less useful. And I think you should stop. but you will probably never listen to that. So who really? I'm just screaming into the void here. But um, fuel filters down in there. I run off-road diesel in these things because I have an aversion to paying taxes and a proclivity to not pay them if I don't have to. That's really the biggest difference between on-road and off-road diesel. If you didn't know that, off-road diesel isn't subject to the same taxes, and it's dyed red as an easy way to tell them apart. So I don't know if I said this already. I don't really like the parking brake system on this. I think it leaves a lot to be desired. But realistically, if I was a property owner on a piece of property that was in the 2, 3, 4, 5 might be pushing it depending on what it is, but like to where this would be a very sufficient machine for a property that size. And realistically, if you were a man that maybe had more patience or less ambition than I do, or more time, this thing could probably handle a property of my size of just maintaining it. You are never really going to be able to improve a piece of property in a significant way with a tractor this small on a large scale. And I say never, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that have done a lot more with a machine this size than I have, but I have a limited amount of time. I work in a very demanding career. I have a loving wife that I love spending time with. I have wonderful friends, and I have just the world's cutest daughter. And these all take a lot of time. And if I had 40 hours a week to play around and get the things done that felt like I needed to get done, a machine like this could probably be really sufficient for what I need. But I have a lot less time than that, and I need something that I can get some pretty significant things done with in a short amount of time. And I think that machine's getting dropped off on Friday. So, all right. So I really just wanted to kind of end this video with an opportunity to say thanks again. You've got to know I don't know what I'm doing. I haven't written any or planned any of this out. I'm really just kind of speaking from the heart, and I hope at some points a little passion comes out and you can see that I really am having so much fun when I get to even just sit on a machine like this. I mean, my grandma always said the only difference between men and boys is the price and size of their toys. And as I've gotten older and been able to get to a situation where I can afford some toys that most boys couldn't, I reckon, I think that really rings true. I feel like a little kid when I get to play with these things. It's the real version of what I played with when I was a kid, and I feel so blessed to be able to enjoy that. I feel so blessed to have even just like, a single person watch something like this. It's really flattering. I mean, I am spending some of your time, and the fact that you would grant me the opportunity to do that and hopefully maybe learn a little bit or be entertained, or I don't really exactly know how much value I'm bringing to any of this stuff, but I think for the beginning, it's just do it. It's just put some video out there, figure out how to record a good one, figure out how to make sure people can see you, can hear you, and talk about some fun stuff. I've got pretty much 3 playlists I'm working on right now, which is buying stuff, which is, for what I'm doing, acquiring a few things is part of it, and I think that people enjoy that as something interesting to go see. Sorry, I think I have a spider in my boot, but I've got doing stuff, which is kind of what that video I did about like food plots is I'm doing something. I'd like to get a better understanding of how to film something while I'm doing it, because I think there could be some really cool content of like change over time and like time lapse and stuff like that. No idea, gonna have to figure it out. And then the third one is reviewing stuff. So buying stuff, doing stuff, reviewing stuff. That's where I am right now. That's what this channel is going to be. And I look around my shop and see um, a lot of things that I probably already have to talk about and review and share some thoughts about, and um, that's exciting to me. I maybe I just sound so weird or so I don't know. There's a part of me that really feels like this is so vain. Like, why would anybody have any interest in hearing me talk? But um, you know what? A lot of people do this and they don't seem vain at all. So that's I hope I come across genuine. I am not acting. I couldn't. I don't have it in me. Uh, but I do have the opportunity or the ability to hold my phone up, face myself, and talk to myself like I was talking to a friend, but maybe slightly different because it's a camera and it doesn't talk back. So um, I just really appreciate it, everybody. And this will be one of the last times you ever see this machine on my channel. But I think if you like equipment, I think if you like doing stuff on the farm, you're going to really like what I have to see that's going to get rolled off the truck on Friday. And that's all I'm going to say. Peace.